September 5th, 1903, 13 black men walked into the Chavez County Clerk's office and signed into existence the Blackton Townsite Company. After the incorporation of the Blackton Townsite Company, Blacktomites publicized advertisements that traveled from the state of Washington to South Carolina. By September 11th, 1903, a few days after incorporation, all of Indiana was flooded with advertisements promoting the Afro Frontier town. In July 1903, Evansville had descended into war drawn along racial lines. White violence exploded as recently settled black migrants continued to build their community. White lash resulted in the death of both black and white people as black folks fought violence with violence. While Blacktomites blanketed all of Indiana with a sea of advertisements, Isaac Jones began the first homestead connected to Blackton. To clarify significant detail about Blackton's early years, according to homestead final proofing documents, none of the early homesteaders connected their land to the municipality called Blackton. For example, Isaac Jones completed his homestead patent in 1905 under the threat of federal perjury charges and possibly land fraud. On question 8 of his testimony to the land office in Chavez County, quote, is your present claim within the limits of an incorporated town or selected site of a city or town or used in any way for trade and business, end quote. Isaac responded, no, sir. The inconsistencies in Blackton's early years, loosely referred to as the lost years, are complicated, as more Blacktomites completed homestead patents that technically had nothing to do with Blackton. For Frank Boyer, who first rented land before proving up, the transition to homesteader was much smoother than that of Isaac Jones, who had to move his family from Roswell to participate in the Blackton colonization scheme. A Blacktomites advertisement echoed an announcement from New Mexico's Office of Territorial Secretary on September 9th, 1903. Quote, the following articles of incorporation have been filed in the Office of the Territorial Secretary. The Blackton Townsite Company, with the capital stock of $10,000, which is divided into 50,000, 5,000 shares of $2 each. The incorporators and directors are Francis M. Boyer, Isaac W. Jones, Daniel G. Keyes, Burrell Dickerson, Charles C. Childress, John A. Boyer, Charles Thompson, James Jackson, Charles Clifton, Albert Hubert, George White, Benjamin Harrison, and Joseph Cook. The objects of the company are to establish and operate the town of Blackton in Chavez County, and to conduct a Negro colony in that section. The term of the incorporation is 50 years, and the principal place of business will be in the town of Blackton when it is established. For the present, The offices will be located in Roswell. Behind the corporate veil of the Blackton Townsite Company, people under the conditions of American blackness were recognized as sovereigns in the New Mexico Territory. The territorial secretary's official announcement about Blackdom's organization, printed in the Santa Fe New Mexican, was a synopsis of the announcement standardized into words copied by local newspapers. Blackdomites had their interpretation of the colonization scheme. The advertisements were filtered through various hegemonic institutions before local newspapers offices interpreted the Afrotopic information into headlines. At the Logansport Faro Tribune in Indiana on September 10th, 1903, the headline read, quote, "Here's your segregation, Mr. Graves," end quote, followed by the Blackdom blurb. That was September 5th. That was the official start date of Blackdom, but it took time for the newspapers to catch up. It only took about a week for newspapers across the country to catch up, mostly because of the Associated Press. September's an important day for, September's an important month for Blackdom because in September of 1920, less than 20 years later, Blackdomites struck oil. Now, when I say that, I laugh because, it wasn't like the Beverly Hillbillies, striking oil. So when you say that, it can sound a little extra, right? Because it wasn't, like that. It wasn't. Instead, the newspaper reported that Blackdom made location. Now, if you read a headline that said Blackdom location made, what do you think was made? At the time, there was oil speculation going on, and the fever of finding oil and striking it rich like the Beverly Hillbillies was coloring everyone's imagination. So they would have understood. They would have understood what it meant. But today, it's 100 years later. So how do you understand? I'm going to read it. On September 1st, 1920, the Roswell Daily Record reported, Blackdom location made. The location for the deep test well at Blackdom, south of this city, has just been made. This well, it's a key, will be drilled a quarter of a mile west of Blackdom, and the derrick is now under construction. The well will be put down by a California syndicate represented here by Vern Lincoln. A rotary rig will be used to go the first 1,000 feet, and excellent progress is expected. Often people say that Blackdom ceased to exist because they couldn't find water. Well, they can drill 1,000 feet to find oil but not find water. So, in less than 20 years, black folks were striking oil in Blackdom. That's new black history. I don't give a damn who you are. Taking my break.